So guys, we just wrapped up an epic Expo West, and I have a special guest here. This is Jason with Primal Outdoors. He has a YouTube channel. What's it called?
Primal Outdoors, camping and photography. But basic, if you just look up Primal Outdoors, you're going to find it.
Awesome, awesome. So we're just going to have a discussion. Just Jason and I are going to talk about the Expo and kind of what our impressions were, and you can kind of get a feel for what to expect and what you might be interested in if you wanted to come to either Expo West or Expo East in the future. So what did you think? I mean, was this your first?
This was definitely, yeah, this was my first time, and I'll be honest, it was almost a bit on the overwhelming side. There was so much stuff here. It was incredible, and it was almost like it was, in some sense, it was almost hard to figure out where some booths end and some booths started again, and what was somebody just camping and where some of the booths. But man, I think if they make it for Overland, it's here.
It is, absolutely, and then some.
Yeah.
So what was some of your favorite parts?
Well, for me, I think that the absolute favorite part was, and the part that probably overwhelmed me a little bit in the fact that was just how many people recognized me and came to the booth to talk to me, and that was by far the funnest part for me, is being able to interact with the people that watch the channel and hear their stories and talk to them, and just kind of get a feel for how the channel has affected their lives, you know.
Right.
That's super humbling.
It really was, and we've had that conversation several times throughout the whole weekend. Is I did not come here expecting people to recognize me. I came here because we had a turtleback trailer, and we were going to be in the turtleback trailer booth, and we were just going to kind of help market, you know, what it is that we love and live out of full time. And from the time I stepped out of the rooftop tent on Friday morning till like 8 o'clock that night, it was constant, and people were coming up and saying, you know, love what you're doing, keep it up, you know, we're waiting for the next story, we're waiting for the next video. And humbling, I mean, and not just humbling, but exciting and motivating. Like I can't wait to get back to editing videos. And so I think there's a really cool cultural shift that we're seeing, where people aren't sitting down in front of the TV every night. They're actually searching out everyday people like us who are just telling a story or talking about our passion, and so it's exciting to be a part of that movement, you know, where you can dictate what your entertainment is, and you can go out and seek out those people. And so an everyday average Joe like me or Jason, all of a sudden we feel like rock stars.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I know people seem really excited, and be honest, I you know, in the end though, I felt like even though as excited as they were to come meet me, I was I think more excited to meet them. You know, I was like, wow. I mean, because like you said, I thought maybe a couple people will recognize me and that'll be cool and everything, but literally there was times I couldn't even sit down, and but I no complaints whatsoever. I mean, I enjoyed talking with every single one of them. It was really rad. But yeah, that was the best part of this for me.
Awesome. Yeah, and I agree. You know, the story is the community. You know, we talk about the Overland community, and there are a lot of good people out here.
Yeah,
with a lot of
super
great
nice
stories.
people.
Yeah, and so it's really awesome to be a part of this. So.
But definitely the gear. I mean, obviously you come to Overland to come see some gear, and I mean,
a little drool off your face.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there's everything for the. I think there was definitely everything for the guy just starting out, maybe low budget, just to get going. And then there was obviously the extreme extravagant, which we're watching drive by us right now, which is a Jeep that is like incredible. Yeah. We should probably turn one camera around so you guys can see this.
All right, here we go.
Real quick.
That's just beautiful. Okay, so maybe I'll live in that full time next.
that's pretty amazing right there.
That is awesome. All right, back over here.
Back over on us.
Wiping the drool away again and try and reset.
Yeah.
All right. So anyhow, pardon the distraction.
Yeah. Sorry there, but we thought maybe you guys might enjoy that a little bit. It was definitely rad, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of there was definitely been a lot of gear out here that, yeah, is super extravagant, even to the point like I don't even know how you really would technically use that in an overland situation. But but just really cool stuff, and at least a lot of stuff to kind of give you ideas. It doesn't, but it can be a little bit overwhelming, I think, and I think that's something we should talk about a little bit. That I feel that maybe I can't afford that, so I'm just not even going to get into it.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a misconception. That's one of the number one emails I get is I want to get into overlanding, but I don't have a budget to go and start with a brand new 4Runner or Jeep or something like that. But you know what? There are some great platforms out there that are affordable. I mean, you already own a car, so why not own one that has four-wheel drive?
Right.
Things like older Jeep Cherokees, GX 470s, higher mileage vehicles.
The old Ford.
Yeah, there's a plethora of options out there. You don't have to have the latest, greatest TRD Pro Limited Platinum, whatever.
Right.
You can start with a very basic vehicle, and chances are you probably have one in your driveway right now.
Right.
So it's just educating people that if you have a capable four-wheel drive vehicle in its factory stock configuration, put great tires on it and go.
Yeah.
And just work within the confines of that vehicle's abilities.
Yeah, because quite honestly, when I first kind of started getting back into the outdoors, because that's a long story, won't get into that, but when I first kind of started getting back into the outdoors and kind of started doing car camping, I had this old Ford Explorer that I actually bought at a towing company for $350.
Oh, wow.
It was cheap, but my first experiences before I started the YouTube channel and everything, but my first experiences going out camping is I just would drive that vehicle that I paid $350. I don't even think I owned sleeping bags or anything like that. I just took a bunch of blankets from home and I drove out and I would go camping and I would just throw the blankets in and I just covered myself up. I think I did have an old Coleman stove, but I think that was pretty much the extent of my overlanding gear. Now, granted, in the U.S., I think a lot of us call it car camping, but for the most part, I did a lot of stuff in a vehicle that cost, with all the gear that I had in it, probably was sub $500.
Right. And that's awesome. That's all about it. Get out there and have the adventure. Don't necessarily focus on the gear. There's a lot of cool stuff to grow into and to build up to, but don't wait till you can afford
exactly.
the latest, greatest.
Yeah,
Get out there and start now.
I think that's important because, again, like I started there, and that was probably 10 years ago, and now I'm in where I'm at, but it didn't happen overnight. You can just be like picking, kind of pick little things, and you kind of grow your gear, and then over time you'll find I just want to tell just like a quick story. A buddy of mine from a video that you guys have seen, my buddy Matt, we went to Hell's Canyon, went camping 2 years, went bear hunting 2 years ago. And he had a miserable time that 2 years ago because his gear wasn't the greatest. But in the end, he still went and he got out there. But he made the comment to me, he's over the last 2 years, he's kind of upgraded his gear. He had much better gear. But it didn't happen again overnight. But he commented to me this last trip. We just got back actually a week and a half ago from that same trip. But he had new gear, and he's like, "Man, what a difference 2 years makes."
It really does. It really does.
So
yeah, and that's the same way for us. I look back where we were at. I think I posted a picture from our first expo, and there's our 4Runner. I think it had a roof rack on it. And some all-terrain tires, and I was sleeping in a dome tent next to it. It snowed. It collapsed the dome tent. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome, and I was still having a great time. And so you start looking back at where you started and the progression, and that's actually one of the attractions is you're constantly improving, you're constantly learning, and there's always a new little thing that you want to try and a new little thing that you want to do. So it keeps the pastime and the hobby alive for you because of that evolution. So that's one of the things I enjoy about it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, like I said, when I got divorced, I was doing a lot of backpacking and stuff like that. So I had some gear to come to the car camping world or overlanding, whichever word you really want to put for it. I don't really consider myself an overlander. I consider myself a photographer who uses overland gear to go out and do what I want to do. But when I first kind of started, there was I I knew I was going to be doing this type of camping, but I wasn't really sure what gear I wanted. And so there was an evolution that you can, that of course you can follow. Those who have been watching my channel for a while that can follow through the evolution that I took to get here, but it didn't start off. It didn't start off with me having a CBT trailer and a tent.
Right.
It started off with me having a truck and a ground tent.
Right. Absolutely.
So
yeah, the gear is fun.
Yeah,
the gear is fun.
But like I said, get started. I think I hope if anything you guys get out of it, whatever you have, get started.
Absolutely.
When another quick story, when I was a kid, me and my buddies used to go out and just rampage the dirt roads, and I had a 2-wheel drive Nissan pickup, completely stock, and my buddy had a Dodge Duster, which I think is an underrated overland vehicle.
Okay.
But just to give you an example, we went all over the dirt roads with it and camped out and went and did things. So, you can do it with just about any vehicle. There's certain things you might not be able to do because you don't have a vehicle as capable as Kevin's. Like, I can't do what Kevin can do. His vehicle is far more capable than the old Ford, but that doesn't mean well, I'm going to stay home.
Right.
No, it means that I just go out and I do what I do and I enjoy it, but I maybe can't quite do what he can do, right? But I still go do it.
And that's a good point. While we're encouraging and inspiring, we want to make sure that you understand you have to operate within the capabilities of your vehicle. For number one, for safety. You don't want to get in a situation, bad weather or off camber situation where you're going to potentially roll your vehicle or something like that. So be cognizant of what your abilities are. And the best part is get involved with the community. Mm-hmm. Find some people who are already doing it, and then get out there with them and test your metal, test your vehicle, and then you'll eventually find, like, okay, this is what I'm comfortable with doing. I know my vehicle can handle this. So when you come upon an obstacle on the trail, you can go, no, I'm going to do the smart thing. I'm not going to let ego rule. I'm going to turn around and continue my adventure elsewhere. And I think that's something that needs to be communicated and be cognizant for everyone, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so we've talked about gear, we've talked about the community. What's some advice? This is your first time. What would be some advice for someone who is coming for the first time next year? What should they do in terms of classes, camping, all those different aspects? What's your advice to someone who's new to Expo?
Well, I'll just give them the advice you gave me. Don't bother with trying to get into a lot of the classes. Just go around, check out all the booths, look at things, maybe kind of just get your feet wet with it, and then be prepared to come the next year with some ideas of what you want to accomplish while you're there. Because there was a lot of classes, and I didn't do any of them. I walked around the booths, I met people and did that kind of thing, but I didn't do any of the classes. But then you might look and go check out some of the classes, and at least look and see what they're about and see if it's something that you might be interested in for the next year. But there's a lot. I would also say that I would definitely plan more than one day here. I'd plan to come and camp and stay the whole weekend, because there's just too much to handle in one day.
Right. It's going to take 3 or 4 walkthroughs of the vendors, and then the beauty of camping here is you're side by side with a bunch of people who've traveled a lot of miles, and there's a lot to be learned sitting around the campfire, a lot of ideas to come up with. You might find a rig similar to yours that's already advanced in their modifications, and you can talk to the owners about what the process was and what the learning lessons learned were in their track to where they are now. And so there's a wealth of knowledge here to be gained for just the entry fee, just the camping fee. Mm-hmm. And I think that for first-time visitors, that's probably needs to be the focus, because then you can get a feel for everything. You've seen the gear. Okay, I'm coming back next year, and I really want to focus on very technical recoveries, or wilderness skills, or maybe I want to do first aid or CPR and start building that skill set. So as I travel further and deeper in a more remote wilderness, I'm even more prepared for whatever might arise. So.
And how many times have you been to the expo?
This is my 4th expo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're, what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, you're definitely experienced in it.
Yeah. It's.
How much has the expo grown since the first time you've been here?
Oh, it's probably, I would say, doubled in size. I can't believe just from last year the jump. And that's one of the things that stood out to me is there are a lot of companies here that are families that they had a great idea and they took that idea and they go, wouldn't it be great if we could make a living selling products to a community that we're part of and that we're passionate about? And to see those people, scrimp and save and work those extra hours at their other jobs so that they can come here and take some time off and market that and try to get a foothold within this overland community. It's impressive to me. It's exciting for me to see these people who are investing in the overland community. There's not this big corporate monstrosity or whatever that's just trying to drop a bunch of gear on you. It's like these families have come up with very innovative one-off ideas, and I really spent a lot of time today seeking out those people and getting their story. What's your product about? How did you come up with it? And I think that's where the lifeblood is, that the community extends beyond just people that are driving the trails, but also into the vendors and the products and stuff that we're going to potentially use on the trail. So that was one thing that stood out to me.
I had a thought and then I lost it, so I'm not sure. I was listening to what you're saying, but then I did have a thought. I had a thought, and then
this is all uncut. Our brains are fried. We have literally been talking all day long for 3 days solid, and
it's been it's been nice weather, and I wouldn't say it's been overly hot, but we've been out in the sun.
Yeah,
I'm sunburned. And like I said. We might have stayed out a little late last night, me and Kevin, enjoying a little Pendleton together.
That's right. Yeah, good times around the non-campfire, because we weren't allowed to have one.
Yeah, we weren't.
We imagined the campfire was.
Yeah, but man, it is definitely a great experience. I am super glad that. This is my first time. I am so glad I came, and it's a 17-hour drive for me. So it was, but it's all worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know. I got my thought back. So my thought is even though this is Overland Expo and a lot of this gear is slated towards the overlander, I'm not an overlander. I'm a photographer. So I look at this gear as like photography gear, but you could be a hunter, you could be a backpacker, you could be into fishing, you could maybe just like to just go camping on the weekends. This gear is not really overland only gear. It's not like a specific club that you can't have this gear. This gear could be used. This event would be great for anybody who's into the outdoors of any type.
Absolutely. And I think that's the other cool part about overlanding, as it's defined, is it's a gateway. It's a gateway for hikers to get deeper in so that they can start at a more remote location. It's great for hunters, if they have a vehicle that's developed and capable, so that they can get deeper in, and maybe they have a rooftop tent. So guess what? They're not driving 3 hours in the morning to get to their spot. They're waking up, they're getting out of their tent, and they're there. So there's a lot of benefits that come along with having an overland rig. So there's a lot of crossover here, and it's really exciting to see people from all aspects of the outdoor world coming to this event, seeing what the vehicles here are capable of, and then also starting to develop their own. So I'm really excited to see where the community has come. I'm really excited to see where it's going. This year was incredible. I have no more words. I am just humbled and excited and motivated with what we've experienced here this year, and I can't wait for next year.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely put it on. Be putting on my plan for next year as well.
Good deal.
All right. Well, Kevin, again, it's been great to meet with you, and
thanks for being my guest speaker here.
No problem. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's been it's been a fun time. Just a fun time to just, like you said, just to interact with a lot of different people and get ideas, and so yeah, great.
Absolutely. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For more information on Overland Expo, go to www.overlandexpo.com. Make sure you join us November 9th through 11th of 2018 for Overland Expo East, just south of Asheville, North Carolina. We'll see you there.